Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Oscar Mikey, and today we're going to be talking about some Escape from Duckov tips and tricks, beginner tips and tricks for those of you who are just jumping into the game fresh. The game has sold over 1 million copies now. We're at like the 2-week mark, and it's over 1 million. Insane. This game is going absolutely gangbusters. So yeah, if you're looking for some helpful beginner tips and tricks, you came to the right place. So let's get right into it. First tip, you can like dive roll with spacebar. You're going to be using this a lot. It's a really helpful mechanic. It's kind of like whenever you dodge, you're kind of invincible to enemy fire and you can't be hit by bullets when you're dodging. It doesn't last very long. It only lasts like a fraction of a second, but especially when you start going up against the tougher bosses in the later maps, it's gonna be really helpful for you. You can quick transfer items in your inventory and your stash just by pressing F, and you can quickly drop things as well by hitting X. This game works like a lot of other extraction games. You have like a central hub or your stash, and then you can build modules in it that give you all kinds of like special buffs and, you know, abilities, and let you craft things like workbenches and things like that. You can place them pretty much wherever you want on a grid in your stash, and you can even break them down and move them somewhere else. All you have to do is go into the board where the blueprints are and then scroll down to the one you want. And you can even right click it too and break it down that way, but scroll down to the one you want and there should be a little button that says click and hold to dismantle or something. Once you dismantle it, it'll go back into the blueprint or your board and you can place it again wherever you like. When you're organizing your inventory, you can lock things, which is really helpful. So like the top 2 rows or whatever, you can lock whichever cells you want, but I like to lock the top 2 rows, and then those items, whatever's in them, doesn't move when I do an auto sort in my inventory or when I get out of raid and I want to just move everything, transfer all into my stash. That's really helpful for keeping like ammo and meds and all of that stuff on my character. There's weak walls in the game. You'll be able to pick them out because they have some cracks in them and they're like visibly damaged. You can destroy them with the large hammer. There's a small hammer and then there's a large hammer. Use the large one, or you can just use explosives like grenades or dynamite that you find will blow up those walls and give you access to those areas beyond them. Obviously, there's multiple ammo types for each like type of bullet, small, large, whatever, and you can change them. You can swap them by pressing T. And then you'll be able to scroll at the bottom and change ammo type there. If you press Y in this game, usually it's Y to do ammo type, but it's reversed here. If you press Y in this game, the camera will shift to a perfect like 90-degree like bird's eye view. By default, it's kind of like canted. It's more like a 45-degree view, but you press Y and it'll go like 90 degrees up in the air and look straight down on top of your character. There's sandbags all over the game, all over each map, and you can use them for cover while you're fighting actually. Walk right up to them, get right in front, like press your character right up against, and you will be protected by incoming fire. The bullets will hit the sandbags before they hit you, and you will be able to shoot over the sandbags and shoot at your enemies. But be careful because the sandbags do have like durability. If they get shot up enough, they'll explode and then you won't have any cover. There are 3 ways to enter the first map, Ground Zero. You can obviously go out through the main hatch, which is available like down the hallway. That's the primary way you enter that map. You can also get in through the sewers. There's a sewer access kind of off to the side in your stash. Go down there and then go up a ladder at the very end. But you do have to take some boxes. There are boxes blocking the manhole cover on top, and you have to remove those first before you can actually go up through it. And then the third way is through the teleporter. Once you get the teleporter, which is a module that you install in your stash, you can use that to spawn in a couple of random places around Ground Zero. So that's all 3 ways. Every once in a while, you'll loot these things called red envelopes. These are actual containers and you can use them or, you know, open them, and they have just, it's like random RNG loot. Sometimes you'll find really good stuff like maybe a graphics card or a good weapon, and other times you'll find useless stuff, and that's just RNG. But yeah, whenever you find those things, keep them and make sure to open them. You can open them in raid, or you can wait till you're out in your stash to open them. Some modules can be upgraded to give you better functionality and like better crafts, like the workbench, for example. It has kind of a tree that you can upgrade to enable like armor piercing ammo crafts, or just straight up armor, like better armor crafts and things like that. The workbench in particular has a disassemble and repair options in its tree, and those are going to be essential for you. Make sure as a beginner you need to unlock those as soon as possible. I promise it's going to help you so much throughout your playthrough. Mud is an NPC. He's like a gym rat duck. You'll see when you meet him, he's got abs and pecs and stuff, but he starts off in raid. He starts in Ground Zero in the little house in the middle. He kind of lives there and you can talk to him and he'll give you a couple of quests to do right off the bat, and eventually when you do all of his quests, you bring him all of his stuff, He will then be available as a module in the stash for you to build, and he will just live in your stash with you. He wants 3 things from you. He wants an egg, so make sure when you find an egg, keep it. And then he wants crackers, which I think you can buy from the vending machine in the stash. And then the final thing he wants is cigarettes, which I think you can also buy those in the stash. Bring him all of those, one after the other. Each one is like a separate quest. And then when you give him the cigarettes, that's his last quest. And then he should show up in the bunker in the blueprint or the board, the module crafting board for you as a module. And you can, when you have all the materials for that, you can build it and he will be in your stash. There are stims in the game. They can buff you in all kinds of ways. One of my favorites is a speed stim. It's a yellow stim and it can make you run real fast. There's like endurance stim. There's carry weight stims. Poison resistance stims, like just all kinds of stuff. And they are very useful in certain scenarios. There's also a storm resistance stim. There's like a radiation storm that comes every like certain set amount of time. And that can be really helpful if you want to go out in the storm and get maybe some more special S tier loot. Speaking of the storm, it is really deadly. There are 2 phases of it. The first phase, you can manage to go out. There is like a storm resistant like armor and headpiece that you can wear to go out in the phase 1 storm, and you'll be safe using that. But then there's a second phase that's even more dangerous, and you'll need to add the stim on top of that to stay safe. Otherwise, it'll just kill you outright. Like it'll wear down your health pretty fast. It'll just chip it down, and then you'll die. You can see the timing for the storms in the top left corner when you're in the stash. There's a little timer telling you exactly when the storm is going to happen. Also, there is a day-night cycle. You can see the time up there and whether or not obviously it's day or night, and different enemies do come out at nighttime, so watch out for that. I get this question all the time. How do you get to the second map? How do you get to the warehouse map? So you have to travel there physically first. There's a fragile wall up at the northern end of ground 0 next to the fishing spot or the little lake in the top like northern part of the map. You have to blow up that wall, go all the way up the hill, and there's a zip line that'll take you to the next map. Once you get to warehouse, you're going to spawn in a very specific location where obviously where the end of the zip line is. It's kind of on the southern part of the map. You need to go to the gas station, and there's a beacon there that you have to activate that enables the teleporter to actually teleport you to that map. So you will need to build a teleporter to make this work, but so yeah, that's how you can just like spawn there instead of going all the way through ground 0, all the way up to the zip line and then zip lining there. You will need the teleporter, but that is how you do it. There are 2 bosses on ground 0. One of them is called the Man of Light. He's actually neutral to you. You can walk right up to him when you find him. Like as long as you don't attack him first, you can walk right up to him and he doesn't care. He's not going to attack you. But if you do want to fight him, he is a melee boss. He carries a giant battle axe, and when you kill him, you get his axe and a couple of other loot things. His axe is pretty good. It's a pretty good melee weapon, and you can get a couple of other little loot items off of him too. The second boss, his name is Pato Chapo, and he lives in the, I forget what it's called, but he lives in this area off to the right side of the map. It's kind of like a little industrial area with lots of, it's like a construction site or something. There's lots of containers, and it's kind of, it's a fenced area. There's only really one way, and there's 2 ways into it, but there's one main way into it off of the main road that kind of like splits up the map. He's got an AK-47 and level 3 armor, and then he has 3 or 4 guards. They usually have level 2 armor, and they can have like MP7s, MP5s, and M4s. Those guys are not the green scabs that you find all over the place. They're the like the black crows, and those guys are really scary. They can be pretty aggressive, and there are a bunch of containers in that little area that he's kind of guarding, and you can get some pretty good loot in there off of like the early game. So make sure to hit up Chapo. Especially when you start getting some better gear, just farm him for gear and you'll be in a pretty good spot. There is cash and credit in the game. You can have physical cash on you as well as credit that's just like in your account or whatever. And there is a special trader that shows up on, at least on ground 0. I haven't found him on the later maps yet. I don't know if he's on the later ones, but on ground 0, he's at the top of the hill, kind of in the center of the map, and he only takes cash. He sells a couple of specialized items and maybe some things that you need for quests and things. So it is worth checking him out. He sells weapons and attachments too. Make sure if you want to check out his stock, bring in a bunch of cash with you because some of his things are pretty expensive. Also relating to the cash and credit thing in the game, you can build a module that is just an ATM where you can manage your cash and credit, and you can deposit cash or you can withdraw cash from the ATM, and it's a really nice way of managing everything. The game has Steam Workshop support right off the bat, right at launch, which is really nice. There's already a ton of mods available for it. I've installed a few myself. I've installed item rarity colors, like in the background of the little images of items. It'll be a color for the item's rarity, which is really nice. I also have another mod that shows me my cash and credit, like stock or value all the times, like how much cash and how much credit I have. I have a mod installed that shows me the location of all the bosses when I spawn into a map. I don't use this typically. Sometimes I leave it on by accident, but I use it to get screenshots of the bosses and just find out exactly where they're at so I can go in and get screenshots of them for thumbnails as a content creator. It's really handy. And there's also a co-op mod, which I'm planning on checking out very soon, so make sure you get subscribed to the channel if you want to see that. There's a rangefinder at the bottom of the screen, the bottom right corner. I kind of ignore this. I forget that it's there a lot of the time, but it'll show you like effective range of your weapons. So when it's green, that means you're going to be doing the maximum amount, like the full performance of your weapon and ammo. But when it turns orange, if you drag your cursor far enough away, it'll start to turn orange, and that means you're going to start experiencing a little bit of damage drop off. There's a couple of traders that have skill trees you can upgrade for passive buffs like stamina, energy and hydration drain rate, carry capacity, weapon damage accuracy, all of that kind of stuff. So make sure you check in with like Mud, the fishing guy, I forget what his name is, and see what kind of upgrades you can get with those guys, and make sure you're upgrading, you're buffing your stamina and buffing all that stuff, because it really does help, especially when you start getting in the mid and late game. And final beginner tip, you might find that there's a lot of stuff to loot in this game, and your stash can get out of control pretty quickly. You can upgrade the size of your stash. Just go to the cabinets right behind Jeff next to the mailboxes, and you open that up and you can see the skill tree or like the different levels, and it'll cost you things like cash, lots of money, and storage crates. They come in 3 sizes. There's a small, medium, and large, and yeah, that's how you upgrade your stash and get more space. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this one, for these beginner tips and tricks. These are just kind of like basic tips and tricks. I'm kind of into the late game now, where I'm approaching it. I'm on like the later maps, fighting the later bosses, so maybe I'll do another video for some like late game tips. But this is just for people who are kind of jumping into the game now and trying to figure it out. I hope this video helps you guys out and gives you a nice jump start into Escape from Duckov, and I hope you're enjoying the game. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Thank you, guys.